Okay everyone, how you doing? Welcome, and I'm going to be doing a live production session for you here. I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you the first album track that I've finished today. This is such a cool track. I'm buzzing. I'm literally over the moon. So in case you don't know what's going on, I'm producing a vocal freeform album with singer Jasmine Knight. It's a Kickstarter project and I've already reached my goal in a few days, so you lot are amazing, and I'm going to share on my YouTube and my Facebook channels all of my production techniques. So this first track is finished. I'm going to play you the track. Before I do, quick background on it. I'd already done this as a drum and bass track with Jasmine. She came back from a journey, an ayahuasca journey, and wrote these lyrics. They're insane lyrics. My hairs are standing up on end just thinking about what she's been through. So this song captures an experience in her life. And we did a tearing drum and bass track. And then last year, March, Ian DJ Dummy flew over to the UK and we celebrated my 40th. And one of the days we hung out in the studio here and we started on a freeform remix. So I have finished that basically. It is all done in the bag and you are the first people to hear it. So I'm just going to press play, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I've produced all the sounds in it. So I'm streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and I recommend going to YouTube for the much better quality audio. It's stereo sound on YouTube. It's mono on Facebook, but however you're listening, turn it up and enjoy this.
I'm out of body, there goes my mind. I have my eyes closed, I still see everything. I'm laying down, but I'm still falling. Feel like an entity's overrolling. Mother Earth's taking me under. All of these dimensions I remember. Shape shifting, so I'll surrender to I shut, but my mind's wide open. Rising high to the depths of the ocean. Fast forward, but I'm in slow motion with
Okay, I'm back. Yes. So apologies about that. I was navigating other stuff in the background, and trust Logic to freeze when you're in the middle of a live stream. So let's get on with this, shall we? We're enjoying this build up. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're all good now, everyone.
Mother Earth's taking me under. All of these dimensions I remember. Shape shifting, so I surrender to higher.
Hope you can hear it.
Eyes shut, but my mind's wide open. Rising high to the depths of the ocean. Fast forward, but I'm in slow motion with higher. I'm out of body, there goes my mind. I have my eyes closed, I still see everything. I'm laying down, but I'm still falling. Feel like an entity's overruling. Mother Earth's taking me under. All of these dimensions I remember. Shape shifting, so I surrender to higher. Eyes shut, but my mind's wide open. Rising high to the depths of the ocean. Fast forward, but I'm in slow motion with higher. Mother Earth's taking me under. All of these dimensions I remember. Shape shifting, so I surrender to higher. Eyes shut, but my mind's wide open. Rising high to the depths of the ocean. Fast forward, but I'm in slow motion with higher.
Okay, so there you go. Lots of love for this on Facebook. People loving this. Apart from Scott Hanley's not a fan of the vocals. No problem, mate. One man's jam is another man's ham. This album is a vocal freeform album, and we're going to be doing stuff which, personally, I've only ever really sampled vocals. I've not worked with a lot of original vocalists on freeform, and that's why I'm really excited for this album, because I get to work with Jasmine on a minimum of 10 tracks. So I promised you guys I'm going to talk you through some of the production on this song. So let's get into that. But before I do, I need to explain to you that I mix through analog hardware here. So you'll be seeing stuff like this kick drum, for example. The kick drum's coming out through, let me just press something here. The kick drum's coming out through output 11. So most of you guys will be mixing out of output 1 and 2. So I've got an analog mixer here with 16 channels, and I've got lots of outboard compressors and hardware and stuff. I am going to be expanding my camera so you can see the gear that's around me, but for now you've got this setup here. So output 11 is a mono channel going to my mixer, hence why it's panned left. And if I solo it, okay. So this is just a straightforward, really tight, punchy side trance kick, and there's really not a lot of production on this. There's a compressor with a very slow attack and a fast release. And what that is doing is it's letting the front of the kick pass through uncompressed, and it's squashing the later part of the kick where the sub bass is. So what you're doing is you get a smack to the front of the kick drum, basically. And after that, we're going to a bit crusher here, which if I take that off, it's all a bit too nice. So for rave music, it's just, we've got a bit of overdrive, basically. It's giving us more tone, more volume, but it's actually not adding loads more volume to the headroom because we're saturating it. And that's the secret to mixing loud, by the way, as well, people, is trying to control how much headroom each sound takes up. So this bass, it's all about this bass here, which is a side trance bubble here. So this is a preset which I made in June, and it's got a filter envelope on the synth, so it's really pingy, and the pattern that we're playing here is this triplet bass. So instead of an offbeat, you've got 3 16s on every off, one before the off and one after it, and there's a little bit of velocity on each note. So the note before the offbeat has a bit of a filter envelope on it, so it's not quite as bright, and the one after it as well. So the louder these notes are, the more open the filter is on the sound. So you've got this sound here that is dancing with the kick drum. Okay, and what we've done, this is coming out of output 12, and then 11 and 12, the outputs are here. So there's quite a lot of processing here. There's EQ, compression, extra sort of R bass from Waves, which adds more sub. There's also a filter, because at times this high passes this kick. I use the Fab Filter Volcano for this, and the filter's like doing that there. And both of these come in output 11 and 12, and on output 11 and 12 I have got the PSP Vintage Warmer squashing those sounds together, basically. And then of course it's all about the percussion stuff coming in here, just really tight, really tight. And a classic clap. The clap's got some saturation on it, Sound Toys Decapitator, it's giving it a lot of fizz. On the EQ, I'm taking out some mids, cutting all of the bass. You don't want bass coming through on your clap. No. And then again, we've got compression with a really slow attack and a fast release again. So you're getting the bite on the front of that clap. And I've sent that clap. This is coming out of output 9 and 10, which is all of my percussion comes out of output 9 and 10. And again, on that output, all my percussion is going through this Vintage Warmer. If I take that off, you'll hear it more when the rest of the percussion is in. So, Then we've got here this sound, which this is just a little bandpass stab, but adding pace, right? But by far my favourite sound here is this. So I thought I'd show you how I made this sound. This is from Omnisphere, and it was just a custom made sound basically. So if I, this is a multi-output instance of Omnisphere here. So if I open Omnisphere and I go to the second patch, which is what this is, and we can now look at this sound. So it's literally, it's one square wave. That's it. So this is a one part sound. I'm only using one of the parts. You can layer up lots of different parts here. But what I've done is absolutely loads of modulation on this. So there's a low pass filter. And I'm modulating that with the mod envelope. And if I go show modulation, you can see it here, but I can zoom in more on it here. So I've actually drawn this shape in. So basically, in theory, for those of you that are getting a bit confused, those shapes going up and down are basically moving this dial in real time to the pattern, which I did, just to show you the pattern again. So if I bypass that, the sound's just doing this. Well, you can't hear it now, hang on. That was good. It's doing this. And the other thing that's going on here is some tuning. So let's have a look at mod envelope 2, which is this basically. Wow. So if I take that off, the sound just sounds like this. And then I've got shed loads of layers of distortion and phasing and stuff going on here. So if I take that off, you've got a pretty boring sound, right? So we put those back on, put that back on, come back to here, and we turn on the modulation here as well. Okay. Mod envelope 1. And turn the depth of that up. And then you have pure grit ready to sit on top of your lovely drum mix. So coming up here to this section where I just wanted to do an insane fill and throw in a riff that hadn't happened before. Here we go. And then we're into this. Now, classic freeform riff this. Just pacey, hard trance, inside your mind. Kind of reminds me of K-Complex a bit, this. And yeah, then I wanted to just totally do chaos. So I threw that riff into a gator, gated it on 16th, and then just basically chucked in some Hoover stabs and some D&B stabs, chopping in and out of the beats. Sound like this. Very naughty indeed. So I changed this section just today actually. I'd sent a version of this to DJ Dummy yesterday that didn't have the beats here. It went back to the breakdown like at the start. But I was thinking of dance floors and just my experience as a DJ. A breakdown is good, but you also sometimes want to keep the momentum going. So what I've done here is I've thrown this sort of key changed bass and this filtered high pass bass and kick over this section. And I'm really, really pleased with how it sounds now, because you can appreciate the atmosphere of it, but you can still dance to it as well. And it still does end up with a hands in the air moment before the big drop as well. So
I'm out of body, there goes my mind. I have my everything. I'm laying down, but I'm still falling. Feel like an entity's overrolling.
So I'm going to show you something I did with the vocoder here. I'm getting really into my vocoders, and I'm going to do quite a lot of stuff on this album with the vocoders. What I've used here is Infected Mushrooms Manipulator, and the original audio channel is here in the sidechain channel, so it pulls Jasmine's voice from there but applies these chords to it. So I've played in the chords myself, which it's playing, and I can totally mash this up. Like this is fun for hours here. Yeah, there's fun for hours there. You can modulate all this stuff as well. But in the context of this track, let me just put all this back, my madness here. In the context of this track, I wanted this musical undertone to Jasmine's voice, because I've brought in this key change here as well. So you've got this amazing. And then we get to the hands in the air part. I'm going to let you into a secret. This has got my voice in the background. I've never done this before either. I wanted it to have a male tone in the background. And look, I'll just quickly play you. Unprocessed, no pitch correction. Oh my word, I can't believe I just played you that. With a bit of processing. Good job I'm quiet in the background, eh? Okay, so it's all about the build-up now. It's all about this filtered section here. So what I did was I bounced out the kick and bass, and I've got Camel Fat with a bandpass filter here. So I wanted to go for that inside your head. Like, this stuff sounds so good on club speakers. The sub just gradually coming in and resonating down the bottom. And let's not forget my good old 777 acid machine bubbling up underneath there. Okay, so before that kicks in, going back to the fact this remix is a collaboration with DJ Dummy from Seattle, who, by the way, works in a hospital and is working mega hours right now, so much love to you, Ian. It was his idea to take this remix on a psytrance tip, and we'd got this far in the production, and I was like, what are we going to do? We can kick in like we did before. And he was like, man, you got to do some triplets. That's my Seattle accent for you. and he played me one of the tracks he's done with Ian Kay, and I was down with it. And I don't think I've done a triplet groove before, but yeah, that mind-bending build-up into these triplets, yeah, it's cool for me. Completely cool and insane. And then of course just chopping the vocal again on that triplet groove. And then Mr. Acid coming out to play, but again emphasising that triplet and just twisting around with the filter. Filtering out all the bass and the kick, rising up all the risers, and back to normality. Good groove, good groove. So yeah, hopefully that's a bit of an insight into this production and this tune, which I'm loving, by the way. I absolutely love it. It's, don't know, just takes me to places, and it's making me really inspired for this album. And if you want this album, just go to Kickstarter, search Kevin Energy. We've already reached the pledge goal. Buzzing about that. Thank you. There's signed CDs, limited edition. There's NEC Backcat. There's T-shirts. Everything's going fast. Limited spaces left. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we sell out on some things soon. So thank you to everybody for putting your trust in me. And everybody who does pledge is getting access to a closed Facebook group. And on that group, people are sending me links. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was getting excited and I wanted to play you another song, and I forgot my audio of my mic was coming through that project. So yeah, what was I saying? Facebook group. People are sending me links to tracks that they would like to hear sound-alikes of on this album. Because I'm going to tailor this album for the people who have funded it, I am asking you all, people who have pledged only, by the way. If you haven't pledged, then we haven't got a conversation to have. But if you have pledged, you can talk to me about how you want some of the tracks on this album to sound. And there's lots of links of really cool old tracks that are being posted there. And one of them was Scott Brown's Pilgrim. And I've loved that song always for years. I did a remix for K-Complex back in the day. And anyway, this new piece I'm working on with Jasmine, I said to myself, I'm going to make this the mainstream track on the album, and I'm going to use Pilgrim as a benchmark for how it should sound. So I'm going to press play now. You can have a, I mean, this is just work in progress. It's not finished. As a flip to what you've just heard, this one's much more mainstream, although still edgy. Have a listen, peeps. I'll stop talking. Oh no, you can't hear anything. Hang on. Let me sort that out. I live in a technical world, peeps. So, input 7 and 8, stereo. Let's try again, shall we?
prayed for you in the ways that I seek your truth. But you became my weakness forever. In your breath, I am spiritless. Now we're defying gravity above the galaxy. When I'm with you, see the earth move, live in a fantasy or a dream, an eternal attraction. Now I'll forever be free from insanity.
Right, you know what's happened here? The really cool melody isn't playing, so let me just open that for you. 1 second. Let's go to this part here and load the preset which I made here. This is the Pilgrim riff right here, so user. Okay, this one. Here we go. Yeah, loving working on this track. I just want to finish them. I spend a few hours on something and have to go home to the wife and kids and go, oh, I want to finish that tune. Here we go. Yeah, cool. You can hear that little Pilgrim influence in there, can't you? So this one will be more of a, I guess, a UK hardcore crossover, which I always did from time to time. And I guess on this album, I shall be trying to cover everything that people have come to know and expect from me, from downright dark, driving, disgusting stuff to purist hard trance, to, you know, bubbly acids, to tracks like this, which are more hands in the air, but definitely not cheesy. This vocal here, this section, I love it. So yeah, lots of good stuff to come on this album. The most inspired I have ever been, and grateful to everybody who have pledged, which is just pushing me to do more, make things better, spend more time, and give you guys the best offering of production I've ever done. So it's really exciting, and I look forward to sharing all of the stuff as the journey takes fold. And please go to Kickstarter, have a look at Kevin Energy, and you will see everything there. Kevin Energy Jasmine Night Vocal Freeform album. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your evenings, and I'm signing out here. Goodbye.